So not too long ago, I made a video saying that Journey Together card prices were gonna crash, prices were gonna drop significantly, and it's pretty much happening already. Now, I made that video a couple days ago, and during the time, there was really no price guide from TCG Player, but now all the cards have been listed and there's been sales, and we have seen some pretty significant drops with some of the cards. Some of them have been somewhat stable, but it's pretty surprising how fast things dropped. Now, it's surprising because if you guys remember, Surging Sparks, right? A lot of the cards came out the gate, right? And they didn't really drop much, and then a lot of them went up. Remember Pikachu everybody was saying was overpriced at 300? That went all the way up to what? Like it was like 600 bucks it went up to, and then it kind of went down to now what is it at, like 450? So Surging Sparks wasn't like this, where prices just absolutely tanked. A lot of the prices for those cards actually went up. Now, Journey Together though, it's a little bit different. Prices have gone down pretty significantly for some of these top chase cards, which I'm sort of surprised how much some of these dropped. Now, this may be an indication that prices may go up because they're so cheap, or it may just be an indication of what I was talking about with this set. It's small. Now, pull rates technically on paper seem to be the same as like Surging Sparks and all these other previous main sets, but a lot of people are saying it's easier. But I think it is that illusion that there's just less cards to pull, and therefore people are getting what they want, and therefore people are in their minds saying it's easier. But when you look at all the data, it's the exact same pull rates as pretty much every other main set. So yeah, but I think that big factor of there just not being a lot of cards in the set, it's small. If you're trying to pull an SAR, it's like 1 out of 84 packs. There's only 6 SARs. Well, your chance to get the Lily's Clefairy, which is the most expensive SAR, it's not that bad. But you compare it to Surging Sparks, I believe there's like 11 or 12 SARs. It's a lot more difficult to get that Pikachu. So I heavily believe this is the reasoning why for this set prices have tanked so much compared to like Surging Sparks, is because the set is a lot smaller. And for a lot of people, collectors, it's a good thing. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine with there being a set like Journey Together where the set's smaller and it's easier to pull what you want, because that's good for this whole space right now and how crazy prices are. At least it seems like this space is a little bit happier because the pull rates are better, which I actually think is great. Because, if this whole thing continued with high prices, bad pull rates, I was kind of getting, a little bit wary and kind of a little bit cautious with the market. Because think about it, if we had set after set after set where it's super hard pull rates, or at least hard to get what you want, right? And, super high prices, I feel like then the whole question and the whole topic about a bubble may be more of a, real topic to, I guess, discuss. But having this sort of set where it's still expensive, don't get me wrong, but at least the pull rates are better or you can get what you want, I think is actually good. So that's just my opinion about Journey Together and the pull rates. I actually think it's good to have this sort of set where it's kind of more fun to open. But the prices have tanked a lot for some of these cards because of that factor, which is great for people that just want singles. So if you have some singles right now for some of these cards, I mean, they've already kind of tanked, so I really wouldn't like flash sell them. But honestly, I think in the next coming weeks, some of these cards, especially some of the IRs, I think they're going to go down a good bit more, just in my opinion. But we shall see. But I'm not telling you to sell all your cards. I'm not telling you to do that, okay? But don't be surprised if they continue to drop, because it just seems like there's so much supply of these cards. People, I'm seeing on a lot of these Discords and all these online places, people are pulling, it seems, Lily's Clefairies left and right. So I'm just saying what, from my experience, what I've been seeing. So, like I said, I'm not telling you to sell, but don't be surprised if they keep going down. So Lily's Clefairy, when I made that video, I guess kind of giving my predictions that prices were going to, drop significantly for these cards. At the time, Lily's Clefairy was selling for around $350. If you go look at recent sales, and there's been a lot of sales volume because a lot of people have listed, look how much they dropped. So they've dropped all the way down to around the mid 200s. So it's about $100 drop. So if we do some quick math, 100 divided by 350, that's a 29%, around like a 29-30% drop from what they were at previously, which is pretty significant because, like I said, Surging Sparks. The Pikachu was like $300 out the gate. It went up to like 600, and then it went down to like 450, 500. So this drop for this set is pretty significant. Yeah, there's that. Even though this is the most expensive card, it has dropped a lot. So could be a buying opportunity potentially, but it also could go down even more. It's pretty hard to say because it's still very early on with this set, but I'm very surprised it dropped that much. Honestly, from 350, from where it was at, I was maybe expecting it to drop to around maybe around 300, but it dropped more than that. So will it continue to drop? Possibly. Will it go back up? Who knows? But it just seems like it's going to go down more just because it's easier to pull these cards in theory, because there's just less of these cards and these rarities. There's only 6 SARs, which, you know, it's just going to make things just, there's going to be more supply of these cards because there's just going to be more out there that is printed. So unless demand just goes crazy for these and people just buy them all out at these prices and they, you know, rebound up, it's very possible that can happen too. But I don't know, if people continue to open stuff up, because it seems like a lot of people like to open the set because it's easier to pull stuff, I don't know. Now, this whole topic, after I show you guys all these card prices, I'll talk about with booster box prices, set value prices, and comparing it to Surging Sparks. So next here, we're just going to go over these pretty quickly because I want to get to that point at the end here. I'm going to try to make here with looking at all these card prices and the booster box prices and make the comparison to Surging Sparks. Go over these relatively quickly. Zoroark, I believe it was around 150 on I guess pre-order or before the set was released. Now this one's been actually pretty you know, pretty stable. Like it didn't really drop much. I'm pretty sure this was around 150. So if I was right about that, yeah, it really hasn't dropped much. Next here is a Salamence. I believe this was also around 150. And you can see here, this is around 120. Honestly, not a big drop. It's like $30. It's not a huge drop, but it did tank a little, or not tank, but it did dip a little bit. Now, the Belly Bolt, I believe this was this in the 200s or 150s? Honestly, my memory is not, I don't really remember, but I know it wasn't $100. So it either dropped from 150 to 100 or dropped from 200 to $100, which would be a 50% drop, which would be crazy. I kind of forget, to be honest. But this SAR, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this isn't more expensive than the Zoroark or the Salamence even. Like, those are still above $100, but this one dropped to around 100, some even selling in the 90s. So this one dropped a good bit. Now, the Hop Zacian, this is sort of, you know, not really one of the more sought after trainer SAR cards. As you can see here with the prices, I mean, these have been selling pretty consistently in the 90s, some selling in the hundreds, but yeah, this is now like basically a sub $100 SAR. Not that surprising, to be honest, but yeah, it's not as sought after the other ones, and you can see that with the prices pretty much, you know, kind of, I think, what was this at? Was this at 150s? I don't remember, but I know it wasn't anywhere. I don't think it was anywhere close to $100 on pre-order or whatever. Now, going to some of the IRs, I think I mismatched it, but okay, so last SAR here, Volcanion, this one was, I believe, 50 to 60 bucks, and they're selling for $40. I mean, this was pretty obvious. This SAR, it's the worst one, not surprising, but it's like a very cheap SAR, so hey, if you want this one, hey, it's all you. It's only $40. It's a pretty cheap SAR, just as hard to pull as the other ones, but people just don't really care for Volcanion, but if you do, it's not an expensive card, which is great for you if you want to buy it. Now, going to some of the IRs here, yeah, honestly, it wasn't that surprising that this was going to be one of the more expensive ones. I think this is the most expensive IR, I believe. Now, when you look at the prices, I'm pretty sure these were selling in the 60s. Now they're selling the 40s, so dropped pretty good amount. That's almost a 50% drop, but still for an IR, $40 is pretty expensive. Now, I'll get into some of these gold cards. I just, you know, took these straight off the price guide from TCG Player, high to low prices. You know, these gold cards, they've dropped pretty significantly. I believe the gold cards were selling around in the 60s or a little bit higher than that. And you can see they've dropped all the way down in the 30s. So yeah, all these gold cards have dropped pretty massively. This is the card I pulled. It dropped to $30. I believe this was selling for 50 to 60 bucks. So these have pretty much dropped in half. Now, some of these other cards, the Wailord, I'm surprised this one isn't actually more expensive than some of the gold cards, but this Wailord is around 25 to 30 bucks. So honestly, for an IR like this, I think 25, 30 bucks isn't crazy expensive, but as I've said before, it's possible these will continue to drop, but you could also make the argument that they're now cheap, people are going to buy them up, but I mean, it's all just a gamble at this point, but I'm kind of surprised this one isn't more expensive for what it is. I know a lot of people were hyped for this Waylord, and I still think the art's pretty cool. But yeah, there's that card. Now the last one, just the Ends Rush Ram. This isn't the stamped promo one from the enhanced booster box, which it's sort of surprising that they just have a normal one and a stamped promo. But you can see here, I forget exactly how much this was selling for. Honestly, I don't remember, but they're selling for around $30. Now, going to where I want to make the comparison to Surging Sparks. If you look at the set value and you look at how easy it is to pull these cards, and you look at where the booster box prices are now, you can make the argument that it's overpriced. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably would say they're overpriced regardless, even without me. I'm about to make this comparison with Surging. But when you look at what you're getting here, the easier pull rates, right? Your most expensive card, it's not $300, $400, $500. It's less than $300. Look at the total set value is $1,300, and obviously it could keep going down. I mean, the set's still very new, and you're looking at this booster box being $230 to $240. That's pretty expensive. Now, when you look at Surging Sparks, it becomes even more expensive because you look at Surging Sparks, it has a higher total set value. Also, take into consideration, this set is like 5 months old, so it's had time to go up, down, and kind of stabilize now. So these prices, they're stable here. They're really not changing that much because it's kind of gone through the phase of the first month where prices go up and down, and the total set value is still higher than Journey Together because, like I said, Journey Together is very new, could go even further down. Now the Pikachu, I've been saying it's around $450. I guess it's closer to $400 now, but still over $400. This is still way more expensive than the Lily's Clefairy, even after all this time the set has been out. And Journey Together, it's only a few days old. Lily's Clefairy could drop even more. And when you look at this, right, the total set value, it's more than Journey Together, and the top chases are more expensive than Journey Together. And you look at overall Surging Sparks, it's a bigger set, right? There's more, I guess you could pull. And you look at the booster box. Obviously, there's getting a reprint, right? It's at $250. And like I said, this is 5 months old. It's had time for supply to dry up too. You take all these factors, and you look at Journey Together, at the price, and you look at the cards. Surging Sparks all of a sudden becomes actually a good buy comparatively to Journey Together. Now, with this reprint coming, obviously it seems pretty small from what we're seeing. Prices could drop more for Surging Sparks, but if you don't have any of these, you had Journey Together and you had Surging Sparks, and you had, to pick to buy one. Let's say you don't have Journey Together booster boxes, or you don't have Surging Sparks, and you had around $250 because these are basically around the same price. If you were to ask, Vapor yourself, what box should I buy? Honestly, looking at where we're at, the pull rate for the set looks like card prices have dropped a good amount, could drop even further. Honestly, I would probably pick Surging. I don't know if there's a hot take, but just look at the data here with Surging. Higher, bigger chase card, more set value. Set's 5 months old. Yes, it's getting a reprint. Looks to be small though. And you look at Journey Together, I'm picking Surging. It makes more sense. But I'm not telling you to buy it. But if you look at Journey Together, for what it is right now, it's pretty expensive. Now, I'm not saying to sell your Journey Together. I mean, it's not a bad idea, right? If you buy it near MSRP, you can secure some profits, very short term, make quick gains, sure. I'm not saying that this or all these points that I'm making here with comparing Journey Together to Surging to sell your stuff. I'm not telling you to do that because I'll be honest, I'm not selling mine right now. But if you're thinking about, I guess, risk and stuff, buying Journey Together right now for what you're getting, it's sort of risky. Now, I know there could be a play with these enhanced booster boxes. I've talked about it before. Maybe the reprint, if they do reprint, which they will, these booster boxes probably, right? If they don't reprint these enhanced booster boxes, this will be a very expensive box. But if they do, reprint these enhanced booster boxes, it loses kind of its meaning, at least in the short term, and it probably won't do it as crazy numbers. So I just wanted to do, I guess, this comparison to Surging Sparks to kind of show you guys where Journey Together kind of stands as a set and where the prices are with the booster boxes, and how, in my opinion, when you look at it with Surging Sparks, this set and this booster box becomes a lot less attractive as a buy and as a set. And you look at Surging, and it sort of just, it makes more sense when you look at it this way, because I know some people out there might say Journey Together right now possibly is a good buy. I know there's probably some people arguing that because of this enhanced thing, but yeah, just in my opinion, when you look at all the facts, the data, Journey Together, just for what it is, it's expensive. I totally understand people out there wanting to just flip this if you bought it MSRP or below. I get it. But personally, if you're asking me, Journey Together, I think it probably will still go up in this market. And it will be, holding on to my stuff. I'm not quickly selling them and flipping them because I still think the market's going to flush out and prices will go up. But, as a set and everything, I do think it's sort of overpriced. But that's all I want to talk about today. Let me know what you think about this comparison. Does it make sense to you? Would you pick Surging Sparks or Journey Together as of right now at the current market prices? Let me know down in the comments below. I think a lot of people are going to pick Surging. I think it's the obvious one. It's older. It's higher set value. But let me know what you think about that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.